Happy Monday, friends. We are wrapping up Leo season and we are heading into a wild ride with Virgo season. Virgo is an earth energy, and I usually think of it as very calm and steady. But looking at what's coming ahead, I am a little bit blown away, a lot excited, and I can't wait to tell you about this. So, normally, when we talk about the season that's coming up, I like to focus really on just getting to know the energy of that season. But because of what's happening with the moon cycles, this particular Virgo season, I want to start there because I think it is incredibly important that we understand the context, and then we can talk about some of the personal meanings of Virgo as well. So, the very first couple of episodes that I did with the podcast all relate to working with the moon cycles. And this is a really good way for all of us to kind of understand how astrology impacts us practically. And since Virgo is a very practical energy, I want to come back to this. We are going to have two new moons this Virgo season. It is rare for that to happen. It does happen each year, but each year it's in a different season. So this year it's in Virgo. And what that means is that we're going to have one within hours of Virgo season starting. And it's going to be at the very, very, very beginning degree at 0 degrees, which is like infinite possibilities. And then we're going to have one happen at the end of Virgo season at 29 degrees, which is the final degree of the sign. And that is about wrapping things up, about having learned our lessons, kind of tying up the loose ends and moving on to the next energy. And while that is normal for the 0 degree and the 29 degree to happen when we have new moons in the same sign, along with this, we also have eclipses coming into the picture. So we've got new moon, and then we're going to have a full moon, which also is an eclipse. And then we're going to have a second new moon, which also is an eclipse. So let's dive into what this means and what we can look forward to in this. The first new moon is going to happen on August 23rd. And that one again is at 0 degrees Virgo. This is very fated. This is about new beginnings. The possibilities are kind of endless within the Virgo energy. And because none of this happens in a vacuum, there are other things happening astrologically. One of those is that the new moon is going to be square Uranus, which is in Gemini at 1 degree. So this is a very, very close square. And anytime that we have a square in our charts, it's essentially two energies are going to meet at some point, and it can either be a hard and fast collision, or because we know this is coming and we're aware of it and we're looking out for it, we can merge those energies. And so Uranus and Gemini is all about shaking things up, especially as it relates to communication. And then here we have this new moon energy coming, going, the possibilities are endless. We're already getting shakeups in communication, and now the possibilities with that are endless. And so that's kind of the global energy that's going to be happening with this new moon. For each of us, that'll happen in different areas of our chart, but it could bring the beginning of some shifts in either global communication, the way that we communicate individually, the way that we communicate communally. But we're going to look back at this time and see that there were shifts in communication initiated during this time. And then we're going to get about 2 weeks later to the full moon in Pisces. And whenever we have a full moon, you've got the sun in one sign. So in this case, the sun will still be in Virgo, and then the moon is across from it in Pisces, where Virgo is a very practical energy. Pisces is very flowy. Both of them bring a certain level of spirituality and intuition in. So that's something that's going to come together with both. But with this full moon and it being an eclipse in Pisces, there's going to be some kind of potent energy around, can you be both practical and spiritual? Can you be efficient and bring efficiencies into your life the way that Virgo likes to, and allow for flow? Can you be structured, and can you release some of your need for structure? Those are some questions that are being asked here. but they're being asked with the bookends of the two new moons in Virgo. And that's to me, the biggest focus of this season is those two new moons. So we go along to September 21st, where we're going to have our second new moon. That's also going to be an eclipse. And this is one that's happening at 29 degrees. So the very final degree of Virgo, it's happening in the same sign as the South Node. And the nodes in our chart, the South Node is kind of what we are moving away from in our lifetime, the energies that maybe we're growing. As we mature, we're going to go from South Node energy to North Node energy. And so there's again this asking that whatever is happening in Virgo, that it be brought to some kind of a culmination to serve your growth and to serve our growth communally. And the reason I wanted to bring this about first is because when we talk about the shadows and the gift sides of Virgo, this is going to come into play in a really big way because we're being asked to leave the shadow side of things. We're being asked to not live in the lower energy of those and move into the higher energies of those and do so in a way that honors Pisces energy. Pisces is the other side of the coin when it comes to Virgo. Every sign has kind of an opposite sign. So Pisces is Virgo's opposite. So there's other things happening, but I think the moon is such a good place to look when we talk about our career, when we talk about goals, when we talk about life in general. The new moon is generally a time when we want to plant seeds for what we want to see grow in the future. And this is also really important with Virgo season. So with that first new moon and it being again at 0 degrees, we have so many possibilities of seeds that we can plant. And looking at the shadow and the gift side of Virgo is going to help us really see what is going to be to our, in our best interest when we think about the intentions we want to set and the seeds that we want to plant. So I'm going to back up a little bit now, and we're going to talk about some of the core traits and characteristics of Virgo that are really important for us to know. One is that Virgo is an earth energy. So we're wrapping up as I record this Leo season. Leo's a fire energy. It is all about summer and fun and loving ourselves and kind of honoring our sense of self. Here we're coming into Virgo, and the symbol of Virgo is the Virgin. This is a woman who is whole unto herself. She doesn't necessarily, where Leo needs others to kind of applaud and validate and see them, we've got Virgo over here just living her life, whether people see her or not. That's what we mean by a woman who's whole unto herself. This is what we call a mutable energy. So with the seasons, we have cardinal energies are at the beginning of a season. That's beginning new things. We have fixed energies like Leo that are right in the middle of a season. The middle of summer is Leo. We're not starting, we're not ending the season in Leo. And then mutable is at the end of a season. So as we wrap up summer and head into fall, we are in that mutable energy of Virgo. And then key words that are really helpful for us to remember with Virgo are words like analytical, practical, discerning, organized. My clients who I work with who have strong Virgo placements, their sun, moon, or rising there, love to organize. It is the foundation of everything they do. Very organized, very helpful, very grounded, detail-oriented, and humble. My people who I know who have Virgo placements are incredibly humble, and not in a fake way, in a this is just who I am kind of a way. When I think about Virgo, I think about refinement and I think about sacred service. And I see these two things going hand in hand because Virgo loves perfection, but not for the sake of patting itself on the back. It loves perfection because it knows that that is a way to serve others. That when someone shows up with strong Virgo energy and they see immediately what's wrong with a situation, what's wrong with the way something's working, what's wrong with the way that, workflows are happening, and they then immediately go to, here's how we can fix it. Here's how we can make it better. It is in service to others, not in support of its own ego. That is the beautiful Virgo energy that we talk about with sacred service. Now, thinking about the context of these new moons happening, We have a fresh beginning with that first one at 0 degrees, and we have a request to wrap things up with that last one. So I want to start with the shadows of Virgo before we talk about the gifts, because this is what we're being asked to wrap up in our lives. This is where we're being asked to leave some of these energies behind so that we can grow and others can grow, so that we can serve others. And we're going to do this by tapping into the gift side, right? It's not, I think that when we focus only on the patterns that hold us back, our energy stays there. But when we can be aware of and identify those patterns and then go, wait, but what's the higher level of that? And then work with that, that's where we get to grow. So, some of the shadows of Virgo are perfectionism, right? Virgo loves perfection, which can be a blessing and a curse, because I don't know anyone with a strong Virgo placement who's going to settle for good enough. That doesn't happen. And that can mean that you hold yourself or you hold others to really impossible standards. It can also lead to overthinking or criticism, right? If you're worried about trying to make things perfect, trying to make sure that they are the absolute best, that there are no longer inefficiencies, that nothing is wrong, anxiety, overthinking, nitpicking, even paralysis can come about because of that perfection. Criticism, judging yourself, judging others to an extent that we forget that all of us, including ourselves, need a whole lot of grace. Self-sacrifice can be a shadow of Virgo. That desire to serve others can become exactly what I said, self-sacrificing. Virgo might overfunction, which can lead to burnout and or resentment. So those with really strong Virgo placements are going to want to be really mindful of that. And then control. Of course, if we're seeking perfection, there's going to be a level of control that comes with that. There's going to be a level of kind of inflexibility or even micromanaging the details. So if these are energies that resonate with you and you think, oh gosh, I might be, that might be a pattern that's holding me back, this particular Virgo season, more than any others that we've experienced in quite a while, is going to give you the opportunity to kind of wrap up those shadow pattern energies and dive deep into the gift energies to plant the seeds of the gift energies of Virgo. That is what this first new moon is. It is all about planting the seeds of the gifts. That solar eclipse is going to be the time to let the patterns, the shadow patterns go. So some of the gifts of Virgo energy are, again, the sacred service, serving from a place of a desire to bring healing, to bring order, and to bring meaning to our own lives and other people's lives. And that is how we avoid not over-sacrificing, not over-functioning, is that we find the purpose in the sacrifice. And then we allow that to be enough. Have we met that purpose? If it is to serve another, does that person feel served? If it is to bring healing, was healing brought? It may not have been brought to the fullest extent possible, but healing will come. Those are ways that we go from that kind of over sacrificing of self to sacred service. Attention to detail is a gift that Virgo brings. I love this one because I am not a detail person. When I think about having people on my team at work, I know I need somebody with good Virgo energy working with me because I am not a detail person. Yes, I've got strong earth energy, but it's way high up mountaintop where I'm not thinking about the details of the crops that we're growing. That's what Virgo brings. My fiance happens to have both his sun and rising sign in Virgo. I love this because I can bring about some big idea and he immediately goes, okay, here's what we need to do to make that happen. Or I can be talking about, oh, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And he says, well, did you think about this? And it's those details that are really helpful to me because I'm not thinking about them. He's also really good at finding things that are broken and then knowing how to fix them. And it's really cool to watch him get to work with that. It's that attention to detail. If he's fixing something, he's going to see all the little pieces and how they play together in a way that I never will, because that is not my strength. When you look at my chart and you see Virgo, it's empty. I have Virgo energy in my chart, but I don't have any of these, special superpowers of Virgo. Another gift for Virgo is very practical wisdom. So, not getting swept away in fantasy, knowing how to turn ideas into very tangible action. That is a superpower that somebody, especially with their sun, moon, or rising in Virgo, is going to bring. Something that I don't think it's talked about enough with Virgo is this idea of purification and ritual that Virgo energy brings. It's ruled by Mercury, which is our sign of communication. And that gives Virgo this just really brilliant mind that's paired with kind of a natural affinity for ritual or routine or wellness. And when you bring about that refinement side of Virgo that can lend toward purification, when we think about our spirituality and we think about Virgo and Pisces being two sides of one coin, there's a really beautiful spiritual message for all of us in that. And then another gift is grounded intelligence, being able to combine logic and intuition to make really thoughtful and balanced decisions. That it's not only logical or only intuitive, it's a really cool combination of the two. And all of these, when our Virgo folks are living in alignment with these gifts, it means that there's resilience in chaos. It means that instead of getting overwhelmed by all the things that could be wrong or all the things that might need to be fixed, that Virgo is able to just anchor its energy and go, okay, I can't fix 100% of it, but I can show up in service to my people and have a specific purpose for that and bring healing or bring order to the chaos and the confusion. That's how that gift energy shows up. And so as you think about heading into Virgo season with all of these powerful things happening, these are the seeds that you get to plant. Where do you want to bring in practical wisdom? Where might you benefit from purification and ritual? Where might you need to pay more attention to the details so that you can grow in service to others and yourself? That's the energy that we're coming into. And this is one that we are going to look back on this period of time 6 months from now, a year from now, and say huge shifts were initiated in that, because this two new moons, the eclipses happening, all of this are leading us into a place where shifts are going to happen. We get to decide how we want to work with that energy, and it's not going to be through control. That's what that full moon in Pisces is telling us. There is a level of we're going to have to release some of our structure, some of our need for perfection, for control, release it so that we can go with some of the flow a bit more, a little more Piscean energy, and move into a new way, a higher way of showing up in these Virgo energies. So, an affirmation for all of us that we can bring into this wild Virgo season is: I bring order to chaos. I bring love through service and beauty through devotion. I honor my path one intentional step at a time. I'll repeat those in a minute, and I want you to note which part of that resonates with you most, because that's going to give you your first clue as to what your individual seeds are that you want to plant during this season. I bring order to chaos. I bring love through service. I bring beauty through devotion. And I honor my path one intentional step at a time. Friends, this is a beautiful season for us to be going into. whether this applies to your career, to something in your life outside of work, or both. I hope that this brings about the shifts that allow you to step into a higher level of service.